going to go over a bit of what I said so that whatever you missed, we could catch up with. I was talking about the fact that many people hear many things. There's a difference between hearing, understanding, and application. Many people stop at understanding. People hear, a lot of people hear things. You hear things all the time. Um, Woe unto you if you're not hearing. So you hear things all the time. Um, Many people move from hearing to understanding, which is good, but nothing really happens until there's application because exposure will create awareness, exposure to information, exposure to resources, exposure to connections, exposure to strategy, exposure to a lot of things creates awareness, and that's what it does. But execution is what creates transformation. And this series is all about execution. That's all that we're talking about. It's all about execution. All right. And so we're looking at why clarity fails. The series that we're having is called the Gap series, the Execution Gap series. And so we're going to be talking a lot, a lot. And today's episode, we're going to be to the sub theme is why vision fails and how to fix it. All right. Why vision fails and how to fix it. This episode, which is the first episode of the three-part episode of the series, is tagged Clarity is Not Enough. Clarity is not enough. If you've been with me for a little while, then you're probably familiar with the Casper framework, which is the operating system for performance, for converting your relationships to powerful outcomes, from going from alignment to impact, and harnessing in many regards the economics of relationships. All right. So clarity fails when it's not translated into structure. And let me break this down for you. All right. So someone says, I know I need to improve my discipline. I know I need to do this. I know I need to work a bit harder. I know I need to run a bit faster. I know I need to build this. I know I need to improve on my revenue. It sounds clear, right? It sounds quite clear, but let's ask deeper questions. When exactly will you act? What exactly will you do? How will you track progress? Who will hold you accountable? Because clarity without structure is incomplete. Clarity without structure is incomplete. And that's the missing layer. Because clarity must move into what I call defined actions, number one, scheduled execution, number two, measurable outcomes, number three. I'll say that again. Clarity must move into defined actions, number one, scheduled execution, number two, measurable outcomes, number three. Without this, clarity is just intention. And intention without action is illusion. So it won't deliver anything to you because clarity without structure creates frustration. And so you have to be very careful about that because there's something that I call the intention trap. And the intention trap is understanding that number one, intentions are very powerful. The many things that we want to do, intentions can come from the place of inspiration, but inspiration without execution is just a waste of time. It's not even just a waste of time because it leaves you high and dry. It gets you all charged up, but because you're not seeing commensurate results with the charge that you have, you begin to feel levels and spheres of frustration. So when we talk about intention, please understand that intentions are powerful, but they're also deceptive because intentions make us feel productive. They make us feel productive. But at that point, we have not yet understood the requirement for us to act. So intention sounds like I will start soon. Mm. Intention sounds like I need more time. Intention sounds like I'm preparing myself. Was a great friend and mentor of mine that said to me, never let perfection get in the way of progress. That means that you're waiting for all things to come together. Even the Bible says that if you're looking to the wind, you're looking to the sun before you sow, before you plant, you will never plant, so less of even having a harvest. So intentions are good. They bring you to a level of awareness. They bring you to a level of renaissance. They bring you to a level of reawakening. But if you keep saying that you will start soon, and you keep saying you need more time, and you keep saying you are preparing yourself, what happens therefore is that preparation now becomes delay. Delay becomes habit. Habit becomes stagnation. The truth here is that good intentions do not produce results. Consistent execution does. And I want everybody to understand that good intentions don't produce results. Consistent execution does. And this is so important because if I was to say it, I was saying with a friend of mine a few days ago, and I said, look, intentions will satisfy the mind, but execution changes reality. Intentions will massage your mind. It will keep you in the warmth of your mind. It's comfortable. You feel like you're doing something, like you're tasting productivity, a shadow type, a typology of productivity, a shadow of productivity, but it's not substance. Execution is what changes reality. And so the question you want to ask is, so why am I not executing? Why don't people execute? Let's be honest. Let's be candid. People don't fail because they don't know. At least I don't think so. In uh, about a quarter of a century of my career, running close to 50 years, I've come to understand this. People don't fail because they don't know. Largely, people fail because they don't act. So why don't people execute? What's the problem? Why don't people execute? And they don't do that for a number of reasons. Number one, lack of structure. They don't know how to translate clarity into action. Many times, I used to be at a point where, listen, guys, I used to be at a point where you have a great idea, you're a synthesizer, you have a lot of ideas, but you've not been able to put these ideas into a structured format that allows you to operationalize them. And so when you find yourself in that bed, you're just swimming around in the warmth of your minds without going to the terrains of reality and just swimming in those waters of ideas, but it really doesn't translate to anything. So not being able to translate clarity in action is a reason why it's a very significant reason why people don't execute. Another reason is that like I highlighted earlier, uh, there's emotional dependence. People want to feel ready before acting. Every significant thing that I ever did, including uh, this entire concept called the Connect, everything I've done for every client, have never come on the backside of me feeling ready. They came on the backside of me striving towards an outcome and just getting into the ring and just learning as I was going and learning what to do and what not to do and having the quick mind to be able to know what to adjust based on the principle of anchorage and adaptability. So once you have emotional dependence and you want to feel ready before acting, then chances are that you will never act. Every time that you're looking for everything to come together, I was having a conversation with a friend just this morning about a significant move he's about to make. And I said to him, you don't have to feel ready for it. You don't, you see, there's a place of a powerful conviction, there's a place of feeling ready. You see, your readiness is you just massaging your mental state of needing a double assurance. The conviction you have is enough. Go for it. Go do it. Like the Nike theme says, just do it. Just do it. All right. So people want to feel ready. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel ready. As a matter of fact, all you have to do is look. What even brings you to the point is even the preparation, getting into the action. All right, of getting things done. Because, like I always will say, the process validates you. So you don't have to feel ready. As long as you have the conviction to get something done, start. Just start. Another one that inhibits people from executing as they should is the fear of failure. So many people avoid execution to avoid discomfort. Yeah. They avoid execution to avoid discomfort. You come from a place where I really don't want to fail. But don't you understand that the failure or simile failure that you find in your pathway to success are the simile ingredients that are required for your success? The ingredients that are necessary for the cake called success is called failure. In other words, but the difference here is that the failure doesn't limit you, the failure only pushes you. The failure doesn't minimize you, the failure stretch. And so every time you find yourself in that kind of space, You don't have to be afraid to fail. See the failure as a lesson. See it as a master class. See it as a PhD or master's degree that allows you to now be ably qualified on knowing what to do and exactly what not to do. All right. So that failure is something that is absolutely necessary to what it is that you're doing. And I think that's absolutely important. That's absolutely important, right? Okay, so another thing that I also want to throw out, which is like a hybrid of some of the ones I've said before, is overthinking. Yeah. Overthinking. Guys, listen to me. Too many of you overthink stuff. Too many of you overthink stuff. All right. Too many of you overthink stuff. Um, and it's so important that we note this, because when you overthink stuff, you overanalyze, and every time that you analyze instead of acting, you are not acting. Acting is execution. Thinking is supposed to release you to execute. So when you're over analyzing, what you're doing is preventing you from acting, from execution. Stop overthinking. Overthinkers, it's, I mean, I think overthinking is something that people should be arrested for overthinking. And I say that hilariously or humorously, but it's true. Too many of us overthink, and overthinking can be a problem in many regards. Just get it done, get into it. There's the magic happens in the process. The magic happens in the seeking. The magic happens in the exploration. The magic happens in the dealing. All right. Another thing that is very important is having no accountability. This inhibits you from executing. So when you have nobody checking, you have no one to answer to, there are seemingly no consequences for your non-action, then chances are that you will never conform, bring yourself to the conformity of acting, of executing. And so because no one is checking, nothing happens. You're not accountable, and you're not accountable to anyone. And so there are no consequences, there are no repercussions, there are no penalties. There are no checks for whether you get it done or not. And so, really, when you find yourself in that kind of situation, whether it's self accountability or there's some other person that you're accountable to, that's why you have to take stakeholders' engagement and satisfaction critical to anything that you do. And when no one is checking, nothing happens. Nothing happens. So let's put this in context. Where there is no structure, execution becomes optional. And execution has to be priority. And priority is defined as that which you can't do without. And if you can't do without a thing, then it cannot be optional. So it therefore means that where execution becomes optional, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. And usually, not more often than not, or perhaps always, where there is no structure, execution becomes optional. So how do we move forward? How do we move forward? How do we go from clarity to execution? Clarity must become action. What exactly will you do? Clarity must become time. When will you do it? Clarity must have a system. How will you repeat it? Clarity must have measurement. How will you track progress? And so, if you were to look at the simple execution shift, it will be saying, instead of saying I need to be more disciplined, for instance, say I will wake up at 6 a.m. and walk for 60 minutes daily for the next 7 days. That, my friend, is the template for execution. So, one thing I've learned over the course of my life is this: execution begins where vagueness ends. So, you can see that clarity is important, but clarity is not just to, it doesn't end at the point of clarity, it can never and must never end at the point of clarity. Execution truly begins where vagueness ends. I want you to think about one thing you already know you should be doing, not five things. One thing. One thing that you know that you should be doing. One thing. Now, I want you to ask yourself this. Why haven't I done it consistently? Not why hasn't this happened? Why have you not done it consistently? I want you to be honest. I want you to be brutally honest with your answer to yourself. And whilst you're thinking about that and pondering on what the answer could be, imagine it was an exam you were writing about that one thing that you already know you should be doing. You know, you thought about it, you know that if this happens, I will get this result. What's it? Now I want you to shift the question just a little bit. Hear me, stick with me. What is the smallest action that you can take immediately? What is the smallest action that you can take immediately? Because here, execution doesn't begin with intensity. Execution begins with a decision. You haven't yet made that decision because you're dealing with a whole vastness of vagueness. And so, because you're dealing with all that vagueness and all that uncertainty and all that ambiguity and all that complexity, you've not been able to break things down to even the smallest action that you need to take immediately. Immediately. You need to take that decision starting now. Let me bring this home. Clarity is not powerful. Or let me put it this way, clarity is powerful, yes, but clarity is not rare. What is really rare in this time and age is execution. And I see that almost every day with people I work with people I partner with, in the workspace, people in the place of personal development and personal growth. I see that all the time. Execution is rare. There are people who know less than you do, and you can't even argue about that. The people that know way less than you do, like, I repeat it, like significantly less than you do, but are achieving more than you are, not because they're better, but because they're executing. So tonight, I want to challenge you, and I want to do this really hard. Stop collecting knowledge. It's great, it's good. Stop delaying action. Stop confusing understanding with progress. Clarity is not enough if you don't execute. Can you stop that? Can you stop confusing understanding with knowledge? Can you stop on this confusing? A lot of people know a lot of things, and they really just many times stop at the level of knowing these things and saying to themselves, how do I do this? Uh, uh, um, how do I put this? They keep collecting information. They keep um, uh, getting stuff, trying to get ready, letting perfection get in the way of execution, letting perfection get in the way of progress. Progress is what you need. Progress is unravels, gives you the momentum that allows you to go over stumbling blocks and impediments and inhibition. Progress is the propeller that moves you along the timeline of your life towards success. Progress brings about advancement. You can't just be at the point. Listen, I say this all the time. You can't just be at the point of the warmth of your mind. You have to move to the terrains of reality. You have to come to the point where you are now saying, look, for this thought I've had, I'm thinking, how do I execute this? You must be execution minded. You must be execution minded. You must be execution minded. Stop delaying action. Stop collecting knowledge. This is why visions fail many times. And next week we're getting into, this is just the opening. We're going to have really deep sessions next Sunday and the last Sunday of the month of April. But this session is supposed to bring you to a point of, look, like I said, start from the smallest action that you can take. The smallest action. The process will always validate you. And once you get a tiny result, it does something for you that allows you to seek for a greater result, to take another step, and the third step, and the fourth step, and the fifth step, and on and on and on. Stop collecting knowledge. Stop delaying action. Stop confusing understanding with progress. Execute. Execute. What you do consistently will always matter more than what you know. What you know should power what you do. But if you do not do, then you're not going to have outcomes or results. So even if we take it from the Bible, all right, in the book of Genesis, God said to man, be fruitful and then subdue the earth and all of that. That's the action. And then have dominion. So your consciousness, that's at the place of the fact that be fruitful, become fruitful, be fruitful is a state of being, it's a state of awareness, it's a state of consciousness. But you will never, in spite of your fruitfulness, in spite of the fruitfulness that you have become, you will never have dominion unless you execute in the place of replenishing the land, subduing the land, managing the land, tilling the land, and all of that. You will never have dominion. The result is the outcome of your doing is really what you're looking at. But don't you understand that the knowledge that you have without the application of knowledge that you have, and the application in itself speaks of execution. The real challenge is that there's a massive execution gap in our personal development, in our careers, in getting the job done, going from threshold competency to differentiating competency. There's an execution gap. And you don't have to, listen to me, you don't have to be afraid. This has to be the season of new projects, of enhanced project deliveries, of exponential growth. Why? Because this is also that season, that time of ruthless execution. So what are you going to start executing today, this week? What are you going to start executing? And when you're looking to review, you have to ask yourself, I always use the matrix of what do you stop, what do you start? All right, what do you stop? Stop overthinking. Start executing. Stop procrastinating. Start applying. Stop pondering. Start experimenting. Stop thinking. Start testing. All right, and you can go more. So what stop and start do you have? All right, let's do that. What stop and start do you have? Stop thinking, start testing, stop waiting, start working, stop pausing, start playing, because execution will deliver results. And the understanding and the analyzing and the review, recognition, and reward of that execution will deliver better results, greater results, more significant results, more impactful results. So when we talk about the execution gap series that we're having this month, this is the opening that sets you in that direction. And we're going to be going deeper into some ruthless execution techniques over the next 2 Sundays. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it at all. So just go ahead and send me a message. Let me know how today's episode rather, has resonated with you. Let me hear from you in practical terms. This is not the, oh, wow, this was good. No, I want to know what exactly spoke to you. What is that one thing that you know that you should be doing? What is that? And what's the smallest part of it that you can begin to execute right now? Right now, you can begin to get done right now. What is that small part of it that can begin to work on right now? Because working will do a lot of things. It will put you in a position of knowing, it will put you in a position of testing, it will put you in a position of fine tuning, of servicing, of knowing how to adjust, what not to adjust, what to adapt to, what to have anchoring over. All of that is strengthened and really becomes clear in the place of execution. It's the place of execution. Yes, it's great to get aligned. Yes, you understand what it means to be able to, to have clarity about where you want to go, have clarity. But once you've gotten that clarity, once you have that conviction, run. Don't wait to feel ready. You don't need to feel ready. Someone was asking me, do I need to see the whole 9 years? Do I need to see the whole journey? No, but see the first step clear enough to be able to take it. Get moving, get moving, get moving. That's how it's done. Every error that you make will serve as a learning board. Learning boards are powerful because the experiences that you have, all right, that can help speak to what you can do better and what you can do differently. So go ahead and execute. Go ahead and execute. All right. So this is the first episode that we have. Not as lengthy as the others, but it's the opening for the three-part series that we have for the month of April. The execution gap, why vision fails, and how to fix it. And this episode has been tagged "Clarity is not enough." All right, clarity is not enough, and this is what I introduced to you today. So please go ahead, all right, go ahead and understand that what you do consistently will always matter more than what you know. All right, let what you know count for you. Otherwise, what you know will be a stumbling block and a point of frustration for you. Let what you know work for you when you put what you know to work. All right. So, looking forward to catching up with everyone next Sunday. We'll be back again for the second episode of the Execution Gap series. And I am still your host, AU. Definitely delighted to share your Sunday evenings with you as we always do, Sunday in, Sunday out. And hey, keep connected. Send me a word. Let me know how this resonated with you. And you know what I'm saying? Keep walking the pathway of champions and have a great, super productive week. Good night, everyone. Cheers.